This is KVUE News Daybreak.
There's a tornado crossing the road right in front of us.
What could have happened to all these people? And my son could have been in there.
Cleanup continues this morning for thousands of people impacted by those deadly tornadoes over the weekend. We'll hear from those who are now picking up the pieces.
And a deal in Washington to keep the government open. What we're learning about the $1 trillion funding plan and who it's impacting.
And faking his own death. This morning, what the wife of that missing Austin police officer saying about her husband trying to make everyone believe he was dead and how investigators figured it out. Good morning to you, and thank you for joining us for KVUE News Daybreak this morning. I'm Brian May.
And I'm Yvonne Nava. It is Monday, May 1st.
Before we check in with Anavid Reyes, she's keeping an eye on the roads for us this morning. Let's start off this morning with Erica Lopez to see what's happening in the weather this week. Erica?
Well, a cool start to our Monday morning after a stormy weekend. That system pushed well off into the east now and just dragged in some cooler and drier conditions. Here's what we're waking up to. Some 40s across the hill country, lower 40s as a matter of fact for Fredericksburg, Llano, and also some 40s for the eastern counties closer to the mid to upper 40s. So 54 currently in the Austin metro area, 48 in Georgetown. Here's what we're expecting this Monday hour by hour because of the low humidity. Lots of sun in the forecast. We'll top out in the upper 80s. So average high for this time of the year is about 83. So just above that, not excessively warm. Keep in mind it'll be dry and comfortable. Here's what your rush hour forecast looks like as you head out the door. A very cool and comfortable start to the day. Anavid, how do the roads look like this morning?
Pretty good for the most part, Erica. Good morning. This is a live tech stop view at I-35 and Slaughter Lane. You can see the lanes are open and clear, and that's the story for the majority of the Austin metro area, though there is an accident. If you're heading towards the airport, keep an eye out for this one. Killingsworth Lane at Wells Branch Parkway. There's an accident here, so it may affect your commute as you're trying to get on 130. Guys, back to you.
All right, thanks so much. Well, happening today, cleanup continues. After massive destruction in East Texas, a line of tornadoes touched down Saturday night, and you could see they tore right through Rains, Van Zant, and Henderson counties. Now, local officials have issued a disaster declaration for Van Zant County. And as towns slammed by twisters begin to pick up the pieces, harrowing stories are emerging. For that, we go to KVUE's Corey Coffin. Corey.
Some amazing stories, Yvonne. Well, the twisters killed at least 4 people in East Texas. 2 people are missing. Rescuers sent nearly 50 people to the hospital, including an infant who's still in critical condition this morning. After this.
Need some help?
Terrifying video showing a father, toddler, and an infant trapped inside this car, flipped in floodwaters. Good Samaritans are trying everything they can to rescue the small children. Now, the floodwaters are just too strong to get the doors open. Someone calls for a knife. More people rush in. They finally free that baby and the toddler and begin CPR.
Jesus, please let this baby breathe. Dear Jesus, please let this baby breathe. Well, the first prayer she said, I felt a response in that child.
Amazingly, they were able to get both children revived. Witnesses said that the toddler looked nearly blue when they pulled her out. The family posted an update online saying that toddler is now doing much better, thankfully, and it is all thanks to those people who jumped into action in a crisis. Brian, Yvonne.
Wow, such video. I'm so glad they're okay. Go ahead.
Well, the American Red Cross has opened up 2 shelters in Emory and Canton in northeast Texas. The Home Depot in Terrell is also providing generators to the Canton area. If you would also like to help the families in need, you can head to our website, KVUE.com. We have all the information you need there if you would like to help out. 5:03 now, and today lawmakers will return to Capitol Hill to deal with a deal to keep the government funded through September of this year. The deal denies money for President Trump's border wall and rejects his cuts to popular domestic programs, but the deal also means President Donald Trump will avoid the threat of a government shutdown, for now at least. As ABC's Kenneth Moten explains, our nation's leader isn't steering clear just yet because he's now tackling an issue involving the leader of the Philippines.
Overnight, a Capitol Hill deal struck. Negotiators reached an agreement on a $1 trillion plus spending bill. For the Republicans, a $15 billion increase in defense, including border security. For the Democrats, increases in National Institutes of Health funding and year-round Pell Grants for college students. Not in the deal, cuts to Planned Parenthood or sanctuary cities, and no funding for President Trump's wall on the U.S.-Mexico border.
Unless his approach changes, the next 100 days will be just like the first. A series of broken or unfulfilled promises.
The attention turning back to health care this week. House Republicans still don't have the votes for his new plan.
And as soon as possible, we will bring that bill to the floor.
Health care on the mind of President Trump at his weekend rally in Pennsylvania.
We're going to get the premiums down. We're going to get the deductibles way down.
The administration now trying to downplay another controversy, the president enlisting the help of the Philippines to deal with the North Korean threat. Trump invited Filipino President Rodrigo Duterte to the White House, a man facing international outrage over his violent anti-drug campaign and abysmal human rights record.
We need cooperation at some level with as many partners in the area as we can get to make sure that we have our ducks in a row.
The spending bill is expected to get bipartisan votes this week to pass. The measure also includes nearly $70 million to reimburse local law enforcement in New York and Florida to protect the president and his family. Kenneth Moten, ABC News, Washington.
The search for a missing Austin police officer enters its 6th day today. Police now saying that he tried to fake his own death. Coleman Martin is now facing a Class A misdemeanor charge of making a false report. The 29-year-old reported missing and suicidal by his wife back on Tuesday of last week. Authorities found Martin's car in Del Rio on the Texas-Mexico border. Police say Martin tried to fake his own death by leaving a suicide note, even staging his own drowning with a raft set up to look like he had drowned himself overboard or thrown himself overboard. Investigators say his email has been accessed from an IP address in Mexico. He sent an email to a friend explaining the hoax. On Saturday, we received an email from Martin's wife. She said, quote, Cole recently received a new prescription medication. The side effects were causing him to be depressed and think irrationally. We want him to know his family loves him unconditionally and wants him home safe. If you have any information about Martin's whereabouts, you're encouraged to call police.
5:06 is your time. Happening today, search crews will head out to Lake Travis and continue searching for a man who went underwater and never came back up. Sheriff's deputies say the 21-year-old, along with 2 other people, were on a party barge when they went cliff diving on Sunday afternoon. Officials say the party goers had flotation devices, but the 21-year-old lost his device. Crews will begin looking for that man at 8 o'clock this morning.
2 Austin parents taking a stand against school bullying, and they're saying their daughter's been dealing with harassment for too long, and now they want to see some serious changes for the Austin Independent School District. The parents of the Bowie High School student say she's been repeatedly harassed by another student over the last several months. The family also says school staff members were aware of the male student's behavior, and officials were informed of his mental state by his parents late last year. Now, school officials recently wrote a letter saying, quote, the other student and his parents have agreed to have adult supervision for him during transitions to protect him from such allegations. Now, the family has had enough and has filed a lawsuit against the school district, accusing officials of sex discrimination.
We need to not just review our claim, but they need to look at every parental claim over a time period, because this is a systemic problem. If you don't stand up for your kids, no one will.
The parents are demanding the district implement an anti-harassment, anti-bullying program approved by a third party. They also want the district to provide a school safety coordinator for campuses, and they're requesting the male student be expelled.
Well, today the Austin Public Safety Commission will be talking about how to protect people from wildfires. The commission is recommending the City Council to adopt the Austin Fire Department Community Wildfire Protection Plan. That's because Austin has been rated 3rd most at-risk residential area in the nation for wildfire-related structural losses. That's according to a report from 2013. Today's plan would let people know if they live in a high-risk area and help them find resources to protect their homes in case of a wildfire. Today, Mayor Steve Adler will reveal how last year's Austin City Limits Fest is now impacting our city's economy. Adler, along with other city officials, will also explain how the annual music festival is beneficial to parks that are here in the live music capital of the world. The conference is set to begin at 10 a.m. and will take place at City Hall. Now let's take a look at our forecast with Erica.
All right, guys, cool start to the morning. We're still talking about the cold front that passed us this weekend, now making its way further to the east. Right behind it, a ridge of high pressure is what we're under the influence of. So that's given us some clear and dry conditions to kick off your morning. Also, cooler start this morning. We're waking up to temperatures in the 50s, even some 40s out there. Currently 9 degrees cooler for San Marcos. You're feeling the cool down, especially across the hill country. This is what your Monday is going to look like. Lots of sun in the forecast. Dry dew points will allow us for a cool start, but warming quickly into the upper 80s. The majority of us should stay under 90 degrees, the hill country, with exceptions of a couple of places that could make it to 90 this afternoon. Keep in mind that your UV index today is in the very high category at 10, so don't forget to protect yourself from the sun by using sunscreen. SPF 30 at least is expected, and make sure to reduce your exposure to the sun. Guys, back to you.
All right, thanks so much. It's a journey with a purpose. Thousands of cyclists will remember a 150-mile ride starting in Houston and ending right here in Austin. It happened Sunday. 13,000 cyclists pedaled here to raise money for multiple sclerosis research. One of those cyclists had another mission after losing his wife last month. Michael Guillory's wife was killed in a hit and run while training for this bike ride. In honor of her, Guillory decided he'd finish the race despite his own injuries from the crash.
She was really enthusiastic on doing the whole thing. She wanted to start from Houston and come all the way to Austin. I said, you're going to, right then and there, even though I'm banged up and I'm a leg, I can barely walk at the time. I told her family, I'm going to finish the MS-150 for her somehow, some way.
Well, Guillory ended up carrying her ashes across the finish line so she could complete the race in spirit. Still ahead, parents, more teens are admitting to using drugs. The shocking numbers we're getting in on what teens are turning to.
We had no electricity, there's no bathrooms, there's no running water, there was nothing.
It was supposed to be a star-studded event, but it quickly turned into a disaster. What we're learning about the Fire Music Festival that left guests shocked and devastated.